Gelong Thubten, A Monk's Guide to Happiness, Meditation in the 21st Century. Embark on a journey to happiness as we explore Gelong Thubten's A Monk's Guide to Happiness, Meditation in the 21st Century. This book summary dives deep into understanding the true nature of happiness and offers practical ways to achieve it. Learn about the three main components of happiness: fullness, presentness, and freedom, and the significance of meditation in our busy lives. Thubten reveals how modern culture and our attachment to external sources of pleasure affect our ability to be happy. The summary will provide you with valuable insights and techniques to step out of the perpetual loop of desire and start cultivating mindfulness for an enriched, happier life.
Unraveling happiness components. Happiness can be understood as a combination of three essential components: contentment, presence, and freedom. We experience contentment in the absence of desires for anything beyond what we already have, devoid of unnecessary cravings. Being anchored to the present moment fosters a sense of focus, away from painful past memories or anxiety-ridden uncertainties about the future. The third aspect, freedom, materializes when we liberate ourselves from the shackles of negative emotions and preoccupations originating from our past and future thoughts. As we delve deeper into these concepts, we'll discover how to break free from our mental prisons and embrace true happiness. Grasping the essence of happiness requires us to examine its three primary components. The first is a sense of contentment found in the present moment. Being content means we don't long for anything more than what we already have, be it material possessions, experiences, or circumstances. This satisfaction renders the present moment wholly fulfilling, without the need for external additions or changes. The second element of happiness is being anchored to the present. When we focus on the here and now, we avoid getting entangled in painful memories or uncertain future possibilities. Our minds stay clear of thoughts such as regretting past actions or worrying about upcoming events, allowing us to stay present and engaged. Lastly, happiness comes with a sense of freedom. Freedom materializes when we liberate ourselves from negative emotions and disquieting desires that arise from dwelling on the past or anticipating the future. By not wishing for a different present, we remain unburdened by the sources of unhappiness. As we continue exploring these elements, we'll learn to identify the mental barriers that obstruct our happiness and devise a strategy to overcome them. By understanding the components of happiness and breaking free from mental constraints, we will be well equipped to chart our path toward a more fulfilled and joyful existence. Breaking the unhappiness loop. A sense of incompleteness often stems from our unfulfilled desires, making us feel unhappy. We tend to believe that happiness comes from external factors and the acquisition of things we want. However, this mindset is problematic because it leaves our happiness in the hands of outside forces. Even when we obtain the things we desire, our pleasure is short-lived, as we constantly crave for more. Understanding this repetitive cycle is essential to break free and find true happiness. Unhappiness arises from feelings of incompleteness, which can be traced back to our desires. Whenever we crave something we think we should have, this longing creates an empty space in our lives. A promotion, for instance, may feel like a missing puzzle piece to happiness, leaving us yearning to fill that void. Underlying this perspective is the belief that happiness comes from external sources. We tend to think acquiring material items, experiences, or achievements will make us happy. Thus, our happiness relies on gaining these things, and our unhappiness results from not having them. This belief is problematic for multiple reasons. For starters, it places our happiness under the control of outside forces, often beyond our influence. Let's consider the promotion example. No matter how hard you work, the decision ultimately lies with your boss, transferring your happiness into their hands. Even when you attain your desired object, the joy experienced is fleeting. After relishing the promotion, you might yearn for a luxurious car or a higher position. Your dissatisfaction rekindles each time you don't have something, and once you achieve it, a new desire takes its place, creating an endless cycle. Recognizing this loop is essential to escape it and find genuine happiness. So, let's explore how to break free from this unending cycle and reclaim control over our satisfaction. Escaping desire's deceptive loop. The modern world contains mechanisms that trap us in a loop of insatiable desire, such as advertising, social media, and a materialistic culture. These elements prey upon our insecurities and keep us wanting more by selling us an unattainable ideal. Our society is also plagued by sensory overload, which leads to addiction-like behavior, boredom, and distraction. Recognizing these traps can help us escape the cycle of dissatisfaction. In today's world, we find ourselves caught in a vicious cycle of desire, brought on by powerful forces such as advertising, social media, and a consumerist culture. Advertisements are everywhere, from billboards to TV screens to our internet browsing. They entice us with images of beauty, success, and happiness that we're told can only be obtained through purchasing a product. These messages breed insecurity by insinuating we're not good enough as we are. Similarly, social media presents us with a parade of airbrushed and curated images of perfect lives, encouraging feelings of inadequacy and a longing for more. Together, these elements whisper a toxic mantra into our ears: you and your life are not enough, you need more to be happy. This pervasive message makes finding satisfaction in our current lives an arduous task, as there always seems to be something else we need. Adding fuel to the fire is another troubling aspect of modern culture: sensory overload. Our senses are constantly bombarded by a deluge of intense images, sounds, and sensory experiences. Movies, TV shows, music videos, junk food, and even social media feeds present a never-ending stream of stimulation. This overload triggers a temporary high, leaving us craving more when the sensation wears off. As a result, we become pleasure addicts, always in pursuit of our next fix. However, as we grow more accustomed to heightened input, we also become easily bored and distracted, setting ourselves up for even more dissatisfaction. While advertising, social media, and overstimulation may appear to be the primary culprits driving this insatiable desire, there's an underlying inescapable aspect at play. Recognizing these modern traps is the first step toward breaking our addiction to the loop of desire and cultivating genuine satisfaction. Chasing fleeting happiness. Modern culture often leads us to search for happiness in short-lived external sources, setting us up for perpetual dissatisfaction. Relationships, beautiful sunsets, and other seemingly wholesome experiences are transient and can trigger self-defeating behaviors. Fearing loss or futilely attempting to hold on to these fleeting pleasures can ruin our experiences or relationships. This constant search for external happiness forms a mental habit, reinforcing continuous dissatisfaction. Like someone always seeking the next conversation at a party, we remain unsatisfied as we chase after what's just beyond our grasp. Ultimately, this endless pursuit becomes a fundamental cause of unhappiness. Modern culture tempts us to find happiness in transitory external pleasures, but this search is like trying to capture a wisp of smoke. Even non-materialistic sources, like romantic relationships or beautiful sunsets, can prove elusive, as they are impermanent by nature. This reality causes us to adopt self-defeating behaviors, arising from our fears or attempts to cling to the fleeting moments of pleasure. For instance, the inevitable ends of relationships, or the setting of the sun, may fill us with anxiety or sadness, tarnishing our happiness with worry. Worse still, we might engage in harmful actions, such as trying to control our partners to prevent them from leaving, causing further damage to our relationships. Our minds can become trapped in this relentless pursuit of happiness outside of ourselves. This mental habit leaves us feeling perpetually unsatisfied, like a partygoer always looking for the next conversation, never fully engaged or content with the current one. We end up hopping from one fleeting pleasure to the next, never quite fulfilled. This compulsive search for satisfaction in external sources is a primary cause of unhappiness. Consistently seeking something more or something different distracts us from appreciating the present moment, keeping happiness eternally out of reach. But there is another side to this coin, pushing away, which we will explore in the next part. Embracing neutrality. A key aspect of happiness is understanding that our suffering is not solely caused by external circumstances, but rather by our actions of clinging to what we want and pushing away what we don't want. To find happiness, we need to cultivate an attitude of neutrality toward our experiences, letting them be without feeling the tension that comes from attachment or aversion. This can lead to peace within ourselves, and ultimately, a greater sense of happiness. We often search for happiness by attempting to obtain what we desire and avoid what we dislike. However, this approach can actually sabotage our chances of experiencing true happiness. The sources of our discontent can manifest in various ways, such as unwanted people, situations, thoughts, or even physical sensations. When these arise, we usually try to push them away, hoping they'll disappear. For instance, when you have a headache, you feel both the physical pain in your temples and the mental resistance against that pain. If you chose to stop resisting the headache and simply let it be, you might still feel the pain, but the additional stress from resisting would dissolve. This shift in perspective allows for a sense of peace to replace the overwhelming discomfort, thus restoring a level of happiness. This principle applies to all aspects of life, whether it's pushing away undesirable experiences, or clinging to what we crave. Recognizing that our discontent comes more from these actions than the actual circumstances helps us understand that the key to happiness lies in changing our reactions. By adopting a neutral demeanor and refraining from grasping or repelling, we can begin to liberate ourselves from unhappiness. Achieving this state of neutrality, however, requires dedicated mental training. It is not an easy feat to stand back and view our experiences objectively. But with practice, we can develop the ability to acknowledge our feelings and thoughts without succumbing to the temptation of aversion or attachment. By embracing this balanced mindset, we open the pathway to enduring happiness. Unlocking meditation's true power. Just like exercising strengthens our muscles, meditation strengthens our mental capabilities, specifically our mind's ability to remain neutral. However, meditation has often been misunderstood as a mere stress relief technique. Instead of seeking temporary peace during meditation, we should aim to utilize the practice for long-term happiness and the development of a tranquil mindset outside of it. In order to strengthen our body's muscles, we engage in targeted strength training exercises. Similarly, we can develop our mental muscles, or our mind's capabilities, through specific practices. One such exercise that enhances the mind's skill to observe and maintain tranquility is an ancient technique, often mentioned in Buddhist texts, meditation. You might wonder if all that talk about happiness and unhappiness leads merely to meditation. The answer is yes, but understanding the real purpose behind meditation helps put things into perspective. Meditation is frequently misinterpreted as a mere stress relief tool in popular culture. Many believe that by dedicating 15 minutes to focus on their minds, bodies, and sensations, they can feel refreshed and ready to conquer the world once again. This common approach to meditation is not only incorrect, but it also perpetuates the very issues we're attempting to resolve. When we meditate with the goal of achieving temporary tranquility, we end up clinging to it, rejecting anything that may disrupt it. This creates a state of tension and inner conflict, the exact opposite of the serenity we seek. As a result, many become disappointed with meditation, believing it doesn't work, and consequently abandon it. However, the true purpose of meditation isn't to feel good just during practice. Instead, its aim is to develop the ability to maintain happiness and tranquility even when not meditating. So, understanding and applying this crucial point is key to unlocking meditation's authentic power. Mastering everyday mindfulness. Meditation is the mental training that enables us to observe our thoughts and experiences neutrally, and its practice translates into real-life situations. To meditate, focus on a present moment anchor, notice when your mind wanders, and gently return to the anchor. Incorporate mindfulness in daily tasks to make it your default state of mind, eventually accessing inner peace in any situation through dedicated practice. Did you know that meditation isn't just an isolated activity, but a key to unlocking a state of mindfulness in your day-to-day life? The core function of meditation is training our minds to observe our thoughts, emotions, and experiences from a neutral vantage point. Importantly, we aren't perfecting this skill just for meditation sessions. Our ultimate goal is to use it in everyday life. So, how do we transfer the practice of meditation to real-life situations? Meditation typically follows 3 steps. First, we focus on an anchor in the present moment, such as our breath, body, a visual object, or surrounding sounds. Our objective is to remain fully and non-judgmentally focused on our present experience. This mindful state allows us to accept and perceive things as they are without pushing or grasping. Naturally, our minds will wander to other sensations, thoughts, or emotions. When this happens, we proceed to the second step, noticing our drifting focus. The third step involves gently guiding our attention back to the anchor. Repeat these steps continuously to maintain a mindful mindset. While beginners usually start with tangible anchors like body and breath, in reality, anything can be an anchor. To expand your practice, consider incorporating what we call mindful moments into ordinary activities. Choose 2 or 3 routine tasks you do daily, such as brushing your teeth, eating lunch, or climbing stairs. As you perform them, integrate the 3 stages of meditation. Suppose you're brushing your teeth. Concentrate on its physical sensations, like the toothpaste's taste and the brushing sound. If your mind strays, note where it's gone and gently refocus on the brushing experience. The more you practice mindfulness, the more habitual it becomes, not just in mindful moments or meditation sessions, but also when facing difficulties. Over time, you'll access this internal reservoir of peace anytime, anywhere. However, reaching such a level of mindfulness requires consistent practice. Stay committed to that practice, and soon enough, you'll master the art of everyday mindfulness. Embrace mind wandering in meditation. Meditation may sound simple, but it involves 3 essential steps: focusing on an anchor, acknowledging that your mind has drifted, and gently bringing your focus back. It's important to recognize that mental wandering is not a failure, but a valuable part of the meditation process. Moreover, try to avoid relying on closed eyes or calming music while meditating, as mindfulness should be attainable anytime, anywhere, under any circumstances. Meditation is deceptively straightforward. It involves focusing your mind on a specific anchor, such as your breath or a bodily sensation, and then returning to it whenever you notice your mind has wandered. However, this seemingly simple process can often feel challenging for those new to the practice or even experienced meditators. The hurdle occurs when people view mental wandering as a failure, leading to feelings of guilt or incompetence. They may believe they have messed up and urgently attempt to refocus their attention on the anchor. While it's important to redirect the wandering mind, this approach can give rise to undue pressure and a negative attitude, which may hinder the meditative experience. Recognizing that mental wandering is, in fact, a valuable part of the meditation process is crucial. If our mind didn't wander and lose focus, we wouldn't have the opportunity to practice redirection and cultivate mindfulness. So instead of viewing momentary lapses in focus as failures, consider them stepping stones toward greater awareness and mental control. Harnessing a compassionate, forgiving stance toward yourself and your wandering mind can fuel your growth not only in meditation but also in other areas of life. Embrace mental diversions as opportunities for learning and personal development, rather than something to resist or criticize. Another common meditation misconception is the belief that one must close their eyes or listen to soothing music to create the perfect setting for mindfulness. While these elements can aid concentration, they can also create an unhealthy dependency when meditating. The goal of mindfulness practice is to achieve inner peace and tranquility in any circumstance, rather than relying on specific external triggers. By meditating with open eyes or without specific music, you remove the barriers between meditation and everyday life, making it easier to transition mindfulness into your daily routine. This way, you can access inner peace and clarity even amid the chaos of daily life, fostering a stronger connection with the present moment. In summary, Embracing the natural inclination of the wandering mind and avoiding dependence on specific meditation aids can greatly enhance your mindfulness practice. This approach promotes a more accessible and nurturing meditation experience, inviting inner peace and clarity anytime, anywhere.
Gelong Thubten's A Monk's Guide to Happiness provides an enlightening exploration of happiness and the vital role mindfulness and meditation play in achieving it. By understanding the nature of happiness through fullness, presentness, and freedom, as well as acknowledging the pitfalls of modern culture, social media, and sensory overload, we can better navigate our way to genuine and lasting happiness. Meditation is the key to developing inner peace and adopting a non-judgmental state of mind, helping us refrain from pushing away or grasping at external elements. As we cultivate a mindful, present-focused lifestyle through practice and self-compassion, we can enhance our overall well-being, irrespective of the inevitable turbulence of the world around us.